Vermilion Cliffs National Monument is a vast wilderness, with one of the most sought-after hikes in the US. The Wave is famous for its gorgeous scenery, but it's infamous because of its permit system. If you want to hike this trail, you'll have to get lucky. But if you don't get lucky, the monument has other great hiking options, as long as you can get to the trailhead. So in this episode, I'll let you know which hazards to watch for when you visit Vermilion Cliffs. I'll tell you about the permit process for Coyote Buttes, plus I'll give you a couple tips to help your lottery chances. Then I'll show you the 3 main trails in the monument. Vermilion Cliffs National Monument sits on Arizona's northern edge. This park is a vast, unspoiled wilderness that covers 280,000 acres. It has trails, but the trails aren't really marked. There are no amenities and its roads aren't well maintained, which makes it difficult to access. The monument is remote, and exploring it comes with a few challenges. So before you venture into Vermilion Cliffs National Monument, here are a few things to keep in mind. First, House Rock Valley Road is the monument's main road, and it's a long dirt road. This road stretches through the monument from north to south, and it provides access to the Wave and other side roads that lead to White Pocket and Coyote Buttes South. But more on those locations in a bit. House Rock Valley Road has ended many adventures before they even began. On a dry day, you can take a 2-wheel drive sedan up and down the road with no issues. But if the road is wet, it's another story. The road can become completely impassable without a moment's notice, and it's not someplace you want to get stuck. And that's why you always have to check the weather before you visit Vermilion Cliffs. All of the roads within the monument are terrible after a good rain. But Vermilion Cliffs also has little slots and openings that you don't want to get caught in during a storm. If you have questions about weather or road conditions, you can call the Kane County Office of Tourism in Kanab, the Lake Powell Hub in Page, or one of the local BLM offices. Once you get onto the trails in Vermilion Cliffs, you'll need some route finding skills. GPS apps will only get you so far. Apps can lead you in the right direction, but certain areas require scrambling and tricky footwork. These sections require you to piece together a route as you go. Aside from storms, the sunny days can get you too. All of the trails in the monument are very exposed to the sun, with very little shade. You need to have sun protection, like long sleeves, sunscreen, and sunglasses. Also keep in mind that you need to bring all of your supplies with you. Options are extremely limited when it comes to food and gas between Page and Kanab. But once you actually get into the monument, there is nothing. There are no visitor centers, no restaurants, and no gas stations. There also aren't any water stations, so plan accordingly. I like to keep a stash of snacks and water in the car, but to each their own. One important thing to have if you want to explore Vermilion Cliffs is 4-wheel drive. If you decide to venture onto the monument's side roads, you will need it. And you'll probably need high clearance too. These roads are covered in rocky terrain and deep sand. Full disclosure, I drove these roads in a Subaru Crosstrek, but I wouldn't do it again. If you get stuck, you more than likely won't have cell signal, and the crowds aren't big in the monument, so finding someone to help can be tough. Don't drive these roads unless you have the proper equipment and you know what you're doing. Finally, 2 of these trails require a permit, but I'll let you know how that works in a minute. Vermilion Cliffs National Monument has 3 trails and 1 scenic highway. The first 2 trails I'll mention can be accessed using the scenic highway. The Vermilion Cliffs Scenic Highway follows 89A past Marble Canyon and Lee's Ferry. Then it passes massive red cliffs that sit along the north side of the road. These are the Vermilion Cliffs. The Grand Staircase is a set of rock layers that spread across northern Arizona and southern Utah. The Vermilion Cliffs are the second step of the Grand Staircase, so the monument was established to protect these cliffs, and this road puts the Vermilion Cliffs center stage. From the Scenic Highway, you can turn north onto House Rock Valley Road and head into the monument. The first trail I ventured onto was White Pocket. White Pocket doesn't require a permit, so it's relatively easy to access, as long as you know how to get there. Once you're in the monument, you probably won't have cell service, so it's important to have a good driving map with you so you can actually reach the trailhead. Some of these roads have deep sand that many 4-wheel drive vehicles can't navigate. You don't want to make a mistake and turn down one of these roads, because it can get ugly fast. You can download a digital White Pocket brochure and map on the Bureau of Land Management's website. That map will keep you off the toughest roads. but the route to White Pocket is still rough. In my experience, this was the toughest trailhead to reach in the monument. You'll have to open and close livestock gates, then you'll have to watch for cows in the road. All this while driving on deep sand and bumpy rock slabs. It can be a lot, so take your time. The White Pocket Trail isn't long. It's listed as a 1.2 mile trail, but it's not really marked, so this hike can be as long as you want it to be or as short as you want it to be. White Pocket is incredibly beautiful, with unique scenery. Its rock formations are mostly made of slick rock. Over the years, the slick rock has been carved by wind and rain, leaving behind colorful layers of windswept patterns and textures. At times, White Pocket feels otherworldly. Past hikers have named landmarks like the Lone Tree and Thor's Hammer, but White Pocket's main formation is still the center of attention. The next stop in Vermilion Cliffs National Monument is Coyote Buttes South. This is a permitted hike, but I'll get back to that in a minute. Coyote Buttes South has two trailheads, Pothole and Cottonwood Cove. I used the Cottonwood Cove trailhead because it's closer to landmarks like the teepees and the Witch's Hat. The trail itself was practically non-existent. After a quick half mile of beaten down sand, I found myself standing in the middle of Coyote Buttes South. At first I didn't know where to start, so I just started walking. Buttes, teepees, swirls, and waves were spread out across the landscape. Each crevice had something new. One area even had desert bighorn hopping from butte to butte. From this trailhead, the Cottonwood teepees are the main attraction, but there are other landmarks worth finding, including the Wired Rocks, the Chess Queen, and the Southern Wave. The entire hike took 4 hours, but it can be shorter or longer depending on how much you want to explore. When it comes to Coyote Buttes, the hike is the easiest part, but getting a permit is the tough part. The permit process is the same for Coyote Buttes North and South, and these are a few details you should know before applying, including a couple tips to help push the odds in your favor. First, permits go through a lottery system which you can enter on rec.gov or the rec.gov app. Each entry costs $6. If you win, you'll be charged another $7 for each person and dog. There are two lotteries, an advance lottery and a daily lottery. The advance lottery takes place each month, and it awards permits 4 months in advance. So if you want to hike Coyote Buttes in May, you'll need to win the lottery in January. The daily lottery is a little trickier. First off, this one is geofenced, so you have to be within a specified area when you enter the lottery. The geofence covers an area between Page and Kanab. The daily lottery awards permits 2 days in advance. So if you win, you'll pick up your permit the next morning in Kanab or Page. Then you'll hike the following day. I ran into a BLM worker while I was hiking in Zion, and he said that Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the slowest days for the lottery. This means there are fewer entries, so you'll have a slightly better chance of winning. It's still tough, but every little bit helps. Entries for Coyote Buttes also go down as the seasons change. Entries are high from mid-spring through mid-fall, but the entries slow down in the cooler months, which makes winning a permit a little easier. Of course, you might have to fight the weather. When you enter the Coyote Buttes North lottery, it's important to have the proper expectations. The BLM awards a maximum of 64 permits each day, 48 in the advance lottery, and 16 in the daily lottery. This makes Coyote Buttes North an extremely tough permit to get. I can honestly tell you that I entered the daily lottery more than 30 times before I finally won. You can't plan your trip around winning a last-minute permit to the wave. Set aside a day to hike in Vermilion Cliffs. Try to win a permit, but have White Pocket as a backup if you don't win. And when it comes to the advanced lottery, some people try it for years before they're successful. Once we won, we were ecstatic, but I did almost miss the confirmation email. If you don't confirm in time, you forfeit your permit. So that's fun. Luckily, I saw the email with about 30 minutes to spare. We picked up our permits in Kanab, and there was a 20-minute orientation. The next morning, we got up early and headed to the trailhead. The weather had been good, so House Rock Valley Road was in great condition, and it was an easy drive to the trailhead. Coyote Buttes North uses the Wire Pass trailhead. The trailhead has restrooms but no water access, so plan accordingly. The path follows the Wire Pass trail for a half mile, before breaking off and heading towards the buttes. The path was well marked until we reached the wilderness area. From here we navigated over the saddle and around rock formations to find the path. This part of the trail can be a little tricky. Luckily we were given a trail map when we picked up our permits, and it came in handy more than once. Finally, after 3 miles of hiking through the desert, we reached the wave. Most people don't know that the wave is barely 1/10 of a mile long, so if you want to get the most out of this trail, you have to hike past the wave. Just past the wave, we found the swirls. This is a small round formation named for the ridges on its surface. Next, we scrambled up the rocks to Top Rock Arch. This arch has a bird's eye view of the entire area, including the wave. A little further south, we found the dune. This area had smooth, wind-swept walls, with colorful patterns etched into the sandstone. Finally, we hiked over to Melody Arch and the grotto. This required a small scramble down, but the scenery was worth it. Melody Arch is another beautiful sandstone arch, and the grotto is a window that sits behind it. The wave gets a lot of attention, but in my opinion, all of Coyote Buttes North is worth exploring.